Well, good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning's edition of Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. Let's start out with some prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. So, how's everyone doing? Today's Sunday. I'm heading back to work today. And yeah, it's been a wonderful 2 weeks off, but now back to the grind of busy work schedule, which is fine because I love what I do. But, it is a different time, though. All this pandemic crap, it's hard. In September, I was supposed to go meet Dean Cain, who played Clark Kent on Lois and Clark, my all-time favorite show of all time. And of course, that was canceled due to Corona. And so I kind of think of 2020 so far as being like a poop Sunday. I'll say the word poop instead of the other word I want to say. And I just feel like that Comic-Con thing being canceled is like the cherry on top of that Sunday. And so anyone else feeling that way? Because this is just, it's hard. And and I'm trying my best to be the best person that I can be, even when I'm feeling stressed, and try not to let that get to me. And I know sometimes I'm not always the best to those around me, to those who I love, even my wife. And I'm working on that. And it's hard. It's hard, right? Even before the pandemic, we're not always the person we want to be. We're not always living up to our own expectations, so to speak, but we do our best every day. But I just feel like things are a little bit harder even now, though, definitely, as we're in such uncertain times. So if you're feeling stressed, just know you're not alone. I'm feeling stressed too, and we can be stressed together. We can be anxious together. But I do like these videos. They're a way that I can find something to hold on to, something to have that's consistent. I've become it's set. I love waking up every morning and posting these set things on Facebook. It's just, in the world of so much that's out of our control, it's nice to have a little bit of control. So let's get right into Hunger Games, shall we? Let's hear what's happening with Katniss and Peeta. It takes a while to explain the situation of Peeta, how Foxface stole the food from the supply pile before I blew it up, how she tried to take enough to stay alive but not enough that anyone would notice it, how she wouldn't question the safety of berries we were preparing to eat ourselves. I wonder how she found us, says Peeta. My fault. I guess if I'm as loud as you say. We were about as hard to follow as a herd of cattle, but I try to be kind. And she's very clever, Peeta. Well, she was until you outfoxed her. Not on purpose. Doesn't seem fair somehow. We both would have been dead too if she hadn't eaten the berries first. No, of course we wouldn't. You recognized them, didn't you? I give a nod. We call them Nightlock. Even the name sounds deadly. I'm sorry, Katniss. I really thought they were the same ones you'd gathered. Don't apologize. It just means we're one step closer to home, right? I'll get rid of the rest. He gathers up the sheet of blue plastic, careful to trap the berries inside, and goes to toss them into the woods. Wait, I cry. I find the leather pouch that belonged to the boy from District 1 and fill it with a few handfuls of berries from the plastic. If they fooled Foxface, maybe they can fool Cato as well. If he's chasing us or something, we can act like we accidentally dropped the pouch, and if he eats them, then hello, District 12, says Peeta. That's it, I say, securing the pouch to my belt. He'll know where we are now. If he was anywhere nearby and saw the hovercraft, he'll know we killed her and come after us. Peeta's right. This could be just the opportunity Cato's been waiting for. But even if we run now, there's the meat to cook, and our fire will be another sign of our whereabouts. Let's make a fire right now. I begin to gather branches and brush. Are you ready to face him? I'm ready to eat. Better to cook our food while we have the chance. If he knows we're here, he knows. But he also knows there's two of us and probably assumes we were hunting Foxface. That means you're recovered. And the fire means we're not hiding. We're inviting him here. Would you show up, I ask? Maybe not, he says. Peeta's a whiz with fires coaxing a blaze out of the damp wood. In no time I have the rabbits and squirrels roasting, the roots wrapped in leaves, baking in the coals. We take turns gathering greens and keeping a careful watch for Cato, but as I anticipated, he doesn't make an appearance. When the food's cooked, I pack most of it up, leaving us each a rabbit's leg to eat as we walk. Well, delicious. Has anyone ever eaten rabbit? I don't think I have. So let's get into another blog of John Pavlovitz, who he is not afraid to say exactly what needs to be said. He's very bold. So today, the blog is Yes World, It's That Bad Here in America and Worse. And this was written pre-COVID. And so I would say post-COVID, it's just a crap mess in America, right? Okay, so let's hear what he has to say. A reader from Australia texted me last night. He'd been watching the news and he said he wanted to check on me. We're heartbroken to hear what's going on there. Is it really as bad as it looks? Another sweet friend from England messaged me this morning with similar concern for me and for our nation based on what she's been reading and seeing in the media. Over the past few weeks, I've had many kind-hearted people from all over the world make similar inquiries about America, asking if it is as dire and alarming up close as it appears from a distance. Yes, it is. In fact, it's far worse here on the ground because all the ugliness you see from thousands of miles away, outside a few politicians' faces, is probably still rather abstract. A largely undefinable, faceless wave of malice and bigotry, something to be analyzed and studied later. But here on the ground, this malignant sickness has taken over the faces of far too many, faces that have now become far too familiar. They are the faces of family members whose newly revealed racism is regularly leveling us around the dinner table. They are the faces of former church friends who have completely abandoned the Jesus they claim faith in, and in his place have chosen the vilest of idols. They are the faces of once pleasant neighbors who casually regurgitate extremist propaganda in sidewalk conversations. They are the faces of childhood friends spewing anti-immigrant filth on their social media profiles and posts. They are the faces of store owners and hairstylists and restaurant workers whose interactions with us have now become walks through minefields. So yes, it's the staggering cruelty of those holding the power here, and just as much as the people we know and live alongside, who are so gladly empowering them. Yes, it's the complete bastardization of the rule of law and the systems of protections our forebears put in place to avoid putting our nation in such peril. And it's our coworkers and uncles and classmates who don't seem to give a damn about that. Yes, it's our president's absolute sociopathic lack of empathy and his unrepentant viciousness, and it's the people we've shared Thanksgiving dinner with and served on mission trips alongside who share his venom and boost his signal. Yes, it's our government's incessant attacks on LGBTQ people and immigrants and Muslims and the sick and the vulnerable. And it's the once kind-hearted people we love who have been so poisoned by partisan talking points and perverted Christian theology that they celebrate it all. That's why this is all so bad. We're certainly losing the big things here, the integrity of our elections, the stability of our republic, the faith in our systems, the illusion that our Republican leaders will put anything over power and party. And we're losing much more than that. We're losing the soft places we call home, our families and our churches and our circle of friends. We are swiftly and almost hourly seeing the relational fractures that may have always been there beneath the surface and that are now visible and cavernous. We're trying to decide whether to fight for relationships we've spent our lives nurturing or whether we need to sever those connections in the name of self-preservation. These things will never make the news or make a global impact, but they are shattering our personal worlds down to their bedrock. So we're marching and protesting and working and resisting in the face of this monumental and historically malevolent national political cancer. And while we're doing that, we're also trying to preserve our families and our friendships and our workplaces, which are also often hanging by a thread these days. This is a constitutional crisis, and it's a family emergency. We're wondering what happened to our nation and what the hell happened to our grandparents, siblings, and best friends. Yes, American democracy is in peril, and our most treasured relationships with people are in tatters too. We are trying to salvage both, and it's exhausting. So yes, friends around the world, thank you for caring about us in America. It is as bad as it looks from where you're standing. And it's far worse too. So, it's crazy, right? Because even in America, it's so frustrating. How our country is handling COVID. And regardless if, I don't know, because there's all those people that think it's made up and false positives and of the virus. And even if there were some false positives being thrown in, there's still staggering numbers. of people being affected, of people dying, over 150,000. And we should not take that for granted. We should not think of that as a small number, because that's a big number. Over 150,000 people have died from this virus. That's 150,000 sons and daughters and husbands and wives, and over 150,000 families have been affected, have lost their loved ones. And that is something that just, it is heartbreaking. And it is scary. And it makes you know that, I mean, it's just a reminder, that life is precious. We only get so many days. And I want to make the most of it. And I know that I've had days, I have regrets, because there's been days where I've, not been the best version of myself. And I hate that. And I wish I could go back in time and fix that, but I can't. All I can do is go forward. That's all of us can do. And try the best we can to hopefully get out of this thing alive, the virus, and to just be the best version of ourselves that we can be. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents for the day. I do hope you're all doing okay. Let's hang in there together as best as we possibly can. Much love to all of you. God bless.